Yo, what's up? This is Kaylee, your host of Clearly Focused. Today I'm actually excited. I don't know why. It's like not really gonna be a fun, I say that. I think it's fun. Podcast listeners, it is gonna be difficult for you because you won't be able to see what I'm holding. But if you're watching on YouTube, then you will be able to see it on YouTube. So, I'm excited. Today's episode is what's in my camera bag. You would be shocked about all the things that I have in my camera bag. Cause I was like writing the list down and I was like, dang, this sounds like I carry like a hiking backpack. Like, you know, the big ones that goes over your head and everything. No. I have just a normal sized backpack, which we'll get into, all that stuff. But this episode is going to be a little short, but I wanted to share some of my favorite recent things that I've been using and love them. We all need an excuse to buy more photography things, right? Oh, JK. All of these items will be linked in the show notes and available on my Amazon storefront, which is like in my link in bio on Instagram, but I'll also include in the show notes as well. I might not include a link for every single item mentioned, but like maybe more of the particular ones. Like I'm not gonna link my cameras, but we all know where to find them. Anyways, as usual, before we get started, we have our quick little 30 seconds of silence, a little intermission. Enjoy this moment if it's your only time of quiet during the day. Sometimes that's just how the day goes. But while we're taking a moment to breathe, maybe close your eyes and find some stillness too. Unless you're driving, please don't do that. But I'm gonna give you a little bit of like yogi education here, some yoga stuff, so stay with me. It is a really cool thing to think about how like some of this stuff relates in your body to your emotions, like your physical emotions to your feelings. So do a little body scan from head to toe and see if you can locate your center of creativity. Where do you feel lit up when you are in the zone and you're excited about what you're working on? Focus on that little fire that you feel. And now, if you feel that fire right in between your rib cage and your belly button, kind of like, almost like your gut, right? This is a chakra called the Manipura chakra. And I'm not gonna get it like all into the chakra system, but just know that this one particularly is the center of self-esteem and strength. You should feel energy and confidence and health and excitement coming from this space. And the color that we associate with this chakra is yellow. So if you need kind of a mental image for this 30 seconds to focus on, then focus on like a little yellow glow coming from that spot in your belly. Maybe you put your hand there. Maybe you envision the sun, feel the warmth, and just feel that creative fire lit up. And then we'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back, guys. Now that you've built that little fire within, or you found it, let's go over some things that I carry with me to all my sessions and weddings. Some of them might seem really dumb or really obvious too, but you'd be surprised how many times I hear people say that they don't do this. Again, some of it is just kind of like, what? How do you get away with that? But I'm gonna share some things like that I've been loving creatively too, that have helped me just feel really excited at sessions, as well as some of the obvious things. So the first thing first is I actually bring both of my cameras to every single session and wedding. I just have a fear, which this has happened to me actually last month, and I think it was just because the camera was really cold. But I showed up to a session and I had already put in my battery and my memory card and formatted it and everything at the house before I left, and it was working totally fine. I get to the client's house. This was for a milestone session, and I take out my camera and I'm trying to take a picture of their cat sitting on my little baby crate that I brought in, and the camera doesn't work. It's not even giving me an error. Like, it's acting as if something's, I don't know, like the red light on the back of it was blinking. So it was like, okay, whenever I turned the battery on, so I was like, okay, it's on, but like the screen wasn't turning on, the viewfinder wasn't turning on, like nothing was working. And like I took out the battery, put it back in, same thing. Took out the SD card, put it back in, same thing. I was like, what the heck is happening? I put it on my other camera and it did the same thing, which was really freaking terrifying. I think it was just because it was so cold. This was the week that we got like basically snowed in Tennessee. So it was like negative 14 degrees in Tennessee. When has that ever happened? I think my gear was just freaking out, and I just switched my SD card and it worked. Like, what? I literally have no idea how that happened. Or maybe just coincidentally, by the time I put in a new SD card, the cameras had warmed up. But for this reason, I bring both of my cameras. I shoot with two R6s. Both of my cameras are R6s. And I have an 85 millimeter lens that is 1.2 for my RF. And then I also have an RF 28-70, which YouTubers cannot see because I am recording on that right now. But yes, I have both my R6 with my 85 1.2, and then I have my 28-70 f2, and I bring both of them to every session. Again, might seem kind of obvious, but I've heard people not bringing a backup camera to their session, and I'm panicked. Like, what if I drop it in the middle of a session? What if I get there and it doesn't work? You know, things like that. So I just always bring my backup camera. It's obvious for weddings because it's a little bit more like, or there for all day or something like that, but I still bring my camera to sessions, my backup camera to sessions. Okay, other thing that I bring is a camera strap. I don't have them with me right now, so I can't show you, but you will not catch me running around without a camera strap unless I'm like in a studio setting or like indoors, you know, where I have like desks to put my camera down on, or beds or dressers or something. Like if I'm doing a newborn session, I might put my camera down on the floor while I adjust the baby and then pick it back up or something like that. But I will always have a camera strap on if I'm outdoors. Even at a wedding, if I'm inside doing details, I at least have my camera strap on. It depends on how I'm doing. If I'm doing details on the floor, usually my cameras aren't attached to my strap because I'm on the floor and they like hit while I'm moving around. But my strap is on, so that as soon as I stand up, I hook them there. So that way I'm ready at any moment walking around. If there's a moment that's happening, I've got my cameras. So camera strap, I use Holdfast gear. So I love these straps because they have so many different attachments that you can get for them, and they've built their straps to like accommodate them. I know some other leather straps that look really similar, but they don't have some of the like hooks and stuff. So yes, you could in theory buy an attachment from Holdfast gear. Like they have a third camera attachment. So I have that for my film camera, and it's like, it would like sit differently on you because they've made hooks like up here by your collarbones that you attach that to, so that the camera sits by your belly. Whereas some of the other, like, you could find good leather double straps on Amazon. I've heard people, or even Etsy, you can get like a customized one and they're still really good quality, but they might not have like the hooks up at the collarbones for you to add that third camera attachment. So if you're shooting with the two digital cameras and then also want to do a film camera, it's harder for you to do that. You have like a random neck strap or like a wrist strap or something. So I love Holdfast gear. They even have like bags that you can attach and like belt clips and like all kinds of stuff so your cameras don't swing around. Like, they just literally have thought of everything. So I love their stuff. It's a little pricey, but it's handmade leather stuff, so it's kind of like, it makes sense. I got my first Holdfast gear. This is a pro tip. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but I got my first Holdfast double strap harness. It's called the Moneymaker. Which I love that because it's like, hey, I'm making money. I'm not really making money when I'm buying it, but I'm making money when I'm using it. I found it used on Facebook Marketplace, and that was the way that I bought it first because I wanted to make sure I was gonna like it, and those things are like $200. So they also have vegan leather options if you are concerned about that, so that's kind of nice. And they have like wallets and they have like other things too that aren't photography related, just for funsies if you're like wanting to get somebody a leather good. But going on Facebook Marketplace was cool because I just got to get a used one. And then once I decided I really liked it, I switched. The one I found on Marketplace was like a really thick strap, and I wanted like the skinnier straps. So when I was ready to buy my own, like literally 3 years down the road, I think it was actually longer. It might have been 3 or 4 years down the road, I got a skinny moneymaker, but in between then I got the Solo, Moneymaker Solo, which is just like a solo camera, like a single camera strap. So I will use that when I'm shooting a session because I'm only using one camera body. And fun fact, my Moneymaker Solo, I got a special edition that is got Han's, it's a Han Solo special edition. So it has a Millennium Falcon like embossed in the strap, I guess is how you would say it. So I am a nerd. If you know anything about me, I love like fantasy, sci-fi, reading, all those things. So I have the Millennium Falcon Han Solo Moneymaker Solo strap. I love it, but I'll show that to anybody. So yeah, I'm gonna be done rambling about camera straps now. The other things that I carry is a bunch of extra SD cards. I use this little elephant case. It's giant. I feel like it's too big to be carrying around in a backpack, but it holds so many SD cards, which I really love. So it's nice to at least have at home when I have lots of SD cards. They can like pretty much, they can't all fit in here. Let's be real, I have way too many SD cards. But this one holds like probably 30 or so SD cards. I just had to kind of quickly count and do an estimate. It holds like 30 SD cards or so, and so I really like it, and I always bring them. I have smaller cases that I like as well if I'm concerned about my backpack being too giant, and I'll bring those as well, but instead of, and those are really nice. But extra SD cards always, and extra batteries always. I have a little newer Velcro battery pack that is, obviously it holds 4 batteries. I have more than that, so, but some of them I just leave at home or they're on the charger or something like that. But I mean, like I'm bringing 4 batteries to a session. If I'm going to a wedding, I'll bring them all, and they'll just be like the other extra 2 or 3 that I have will just be kind of floating loose around my backpack. But I don't do that for sessions. And I also bring a flash. Again, this kind of seems strange. Like if I'm doing a golden hour session, like I won't need this, but even if I'm going to like a studio that I've been to a million times and I know that it is well lit and I will not need my flash, I always bring it because you never know if like all of a sudden a rain cloud comes in the way and it's really freaking dark and you need a flash, or I mean, you could just bump your ISO, but also what if creativity strikes and you want to do random flash golden hour pictures, right? So I just always bring my flash with me. I use the newer TT560 speed light. It's like $65 on Amazon. Honestly, I like this one more than my Canon, mostly because my Canon is ancient. It was my grandfather's flash, not this newer one. My Canon, like, I don't even remember, 230, something like EX, something like that. It was my grandfather's flash before it was mine, if that gives you any indication of how, I mean, he bought it when I was probably like in high school, but it was time. It was time to get a new flash, and I also needed a backup flash in case something happened to my main flash while I was at wedding. So the other thing that I bring is a film camera, which this has been something that I've been doing that helps me stay creative at sessions. I bring my Canon SureShot 60 zoom, which is just like a little auto film camera. It's a cute little thing. It feels like I'm cheating, honestly, because I don't have to set any settings. I literally just turn it on, point, and shoot. I'm so used to the film cameras, like my Pentax that I used to use all the time. And I actually love it way more. It looks so much better, but it's manual settings and manual focus, so it just takes forever. So like at weddings and stuff, it's really hard to like get them coming down the aisle and kissing because they're moving towards me, so my focus has to be really fast because you're manually focusing. I feel for videographers. How do you do that? But I guess now they probably have their tracking works too, but like face tracking and stuff. But I definitely like using my SureShot. It's much faster, it's much quicker, it's much easier, and it kind of fits in a pocket, which is really nice too, because then I can just stick it in like one of my pockets, or if I have a fanny pack, I'll stick it in my fanny pack, and that's just, it helps me remember to take more film camera pictures. Okay, the next thing I include is lens wipes. I bring a bunch of lens wipes with me in my bag because there's been times where I've gotten champagne sprayed on my lens and I need to wipe it off, or I get to the session and I realize that there's a spot on my lens that I need to clean. So lens wipes, lens wipes. Wow, say that. That's really hard to say really fast. I just like bought a 250 like mega pack on Amazon, and again, I'm gonna include the links and stuff, but it's just really smart to have lens wipes. I don't know like if you clean your lenses ever, but it's very important to remember cleaning your lenses. Okay, I also bring a camera battery charger, like your literal battery charger that you plug into a wall. Am I going to be able to plug this in anywhere in the middle of a field if my camera battery is dead? No, I cannot. I'm literally in a state park. There is no plugins anywhere. But you could buy a car adapter for these, like the normal, like 120 or 20 volt, whatever these are, the house plugs. I'm married to an electrician, I should know, but you know what I mean. I think it's a 120 volt charger you can get to like plug into the cigarette thing and plug your regular camera battery charger into it. But you could, I mean, yeah, so you could do that and like at least have it to charge into your car if you needed to. But my theory is if I am at a shoot and for some awful reason, the battery that I put in my camera before I left the session and the 4 other batteries that I brought with me in my battery bag are not charged, which has never happened, knock on wood. But if for some reason they fail to work, I can go like to a gas station close by or something like that and just plug this in for like 15 minutes. And yeah, I might piss the clients off or like make them late for the session, or like, you know, the session go late or something like that. But at least we can do the dang session. That's kind of my theory for that. The other thing I bring also to go with the flash is AA batteries. I don't use the rechargeable AA batteries. I just don't. Call me wasteful, but I just don't like having to remember another thing to charge. I just don't like having to remember to plug something in and then being like, oh crap, I don't have any batteries. So I just always bring, I'm literally searching in my bag for them, AA batteries. Okay, some other things. If this is a family session, then you best be believing I'm bringing my little lens huggy. Some of you guys have seen him make an appearance in my reels. It's a little giraffe. He is the cutest thing ever, but it's a lens huggy. If you don't know, it's basically just like a little stuffed animal that goes around your lens so that when like kids are looking into your lens, there's like this cute fuzzy little animal around it and they are like intrigued by it. You know, they might try to grab it or they might laugh. Like sometimes mine has little arms, so I'll like make it wave, or you can make it dance or something on your, if you're just moving your camera back and forth, you can make it look like it's dancing. So I'm always bringing that. Okay, I also posted this reel. Oh God, it probably was a month ago now. And I'm surprised how many of you guys are the same as me, but I said it's the most useless photography purchase I've ever made. And it is the little phone mount for, like hot shoe phone mount for your camera. At first when I got it, I used it a lot. I really did. But now, like, I don't even know how to do it anymore. There we go, you have to push this button. And I just never remember. I have left this in like my cup holder or like in my console in my car and I never remember to use it. I think it just got to the point, honestly, my phone memory was so full. I only had like 156 gigs or whatever the smallest one is. And so my phone always only had like 2 free gigs. And so every time I went to go record something at a session, it would be like, cannot record. There's not enough free storage. Like you have to delete stuff before you can record. So honestly, I think that's when I stopped doing it, is when my phone was just always full of memory. But I do have that. It is literally only like $11 or something like that on Amazon. And it is really helpful when you have behind the scenes at a session that you want to include. But I honestly am thinking about investing in just getting like a phone tripod. It's just annoying to have to like move around each time, whereas the other one's like on your camera, so it gets what you see. But having the phone tripod would be cool because you could record you shooting your clients, not just like only your clients. Okay, moving on to some things that I include. I'm literally pulling out batteries that I didn't know were in my backpack. Not like camera batteries. I gotta see if those are charged. Okay, so other things that I bring for sessions just because is a Ziploc bag, and you basically like cut or tear the bottom of a Ziploc bag and put it around your lens. And I use a rubber band, like a massively stretched out rubber band, to keep the bag on your lens, but this is good for two things. Number one, if it rains, you at least have like your lens protected. But number two, sorry, my cat's jumping up here. She wants to say hello. You can get some really cool effects by like holding the Ziploc bag in front of the lens, and it just kind of gives like a really soft, like dreamy effect to the outer edges of the image. Or if you want to experiment with like shooting through it or dragging it across or something like that, you can do that too. So that's just something that's really fun that you can play around with. And the other thing is pantyhose, which I don't have with me in my bag. It's actually in my car. But pantyhose is always fun to put over your lens as well. It just gives it like a 70s nostalgic, like dreamy kind of feel. That one's a little thicker to shoot through, but also dryer sheets, like a used dryer sheet, is always fun too, because you can get some really cool textures with that. There is another thing that I just recently purchased over the holidays. I think they had a Black Friday sale, and it is the star filter from Prism Lens FX. I had to think of the name of the company. But it is really cool. It really only works when there's like lights in the background. So not necessarily like indoor versus outdoor. Obviously it probably works more indoor just because there are more lights inside, but it is really cool. Like if there's street lights if you're doing like a nighttime shoot, there's street lights, you can be kind of, it just gives the light itself like a star shape instead of just like the round blurry globe. So that is just really fun, like Christmas lights to experiment with, just kind of making it a little bit different. I'm excited to try this at weddings because I haven't shot with it at a wedding yet. But it's just kind of cool because it gives you, like I said, different effects. It mixes it up so you're not shooting the same thing every single time. I also have fractals. I got the $180 fractals when they were like super big and popular, and they look like they come in this massive black bag, and there's 3 of them, and they have these little knuckles that you put your fingers through and like hold in front of your lens. And they were really cool for a hot minute, and then they just got like, they're heavy and they're annoying, and I feel like the effect didn't always work the best, so I just kind of stopped using them. I actually found these little, which I don't see it in my bag right now, so it must be, it came in a pack of 12, so I have them scattered everywhere. I think I have one in my car, but it's just like a little round crystal chandelier that literally came in a pack of like 12. Everyone on YouTube is seeing how needy my cat is being. I don't know if you can hear her purring into the mic, but Gia says hi. She's being very annoying. Anyways, so those are cool too. You can put them literally right up to your lens, and it kind of like, I love doing it at receptions to mix up the lighting because it makes the DJ lights look really cool, or if there's string lights or something in the background, it just makes them look really cool. So these are just things I use to mix it up, make it a little bit creative, that kind of stuff. But something else that I bring that I don't know if you've seen me mention before, I made a reel about it a little bit, like probably summer of last year, because there was a story going around that was a San Francisco photographer getting robbed at gunpoint while they were doing a session, and the photographer literally refused to give the robber their camera stuff. And I was like, dude, just let me take the SD cards out of the camera and you can take everything else, but like, you know, to each their own. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you think about it, especially if you're carrying this backpack full of gear, you know, I've got both my cameras, I've got both my lenses, I've got all my batteries, I've got a lot of SD cards. Maybe not all my batteries and all my SD cards, but I've got a lot. And so like if someone were to come up and like rob me and take that stuff from me, I'd be SOL, you know? So I take, or even just like, this might not like prevent this from happening, but like I just feel better in this situation, is I have again, one of those handy little clips that are on those hold fast gear straps. I clip a little blinged out pepper spray. It's black, it's like epic looking, but I put a little pepper spray right there, and it's on my chest. So I think that it might be a little weird, especially if my clients see me like get out of the car and they're like, dang, that girl has like pepper spray, like what? But I also just think like when I'm out and shooting and stuff, you're not really paying attention to what's going on. You're paying attention to your shoot and your clients with that. So, you know, normally when I'm out and about and I'm going downtown, I'm very aware of my surroundings. I'm kind of like, oh, this person's following me or whatever. Like you know, you know the safety rules. You don't look like you're lost, like all those things, right? But when you're shooting, you can't always do that because you're distracted. You're focusing on your client and like what pose you're gonna do and all that stuff. So I think by having that pepper spray like out in the very open, very obvious, like on my collarbone area, dangling from there, other people who might get some bright ideas like, oh, she's got an expensive camera, I bet she's got more in that backpack of hers, like let me rob her while she's distracted. They kind of think otherwise because I've got it right there. The other thing I have is a personal alarm, which there's a brand that I fell in love with. It's called Birdie, Birdie, and it is just like a cute little, I got the white one, but they have tons of different colors. And it's literally just an alarm that you can either clip on your keys or like you can clip it on that D-ring on your camera strap or a belt loop or something like that. And basically you just have to pull it. All you do is pull it down, like pull it like apart basically. Like I don't think it actually comes apart, but you pull on it and this really, 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 really loud alarm starts to go off, and it even like, I think it has a flashlight and it flashes really brightly so you could even blind the person, I think. But basically it just alerts other people in the area like something's happening. You know, people if they heard that would look around and be like, what's going on, what's going on? So those kind of personal things, like I usually have both of them on me, especially if I'm going downtown, but other times it's just nice to have, like, just God forbid you're in the middle of nowhere in a field or at a state park or something like that, and like you get lost in the woods or like an animal attacks you, or like what if your clients turn out to actually be the strangers that you're supposed to avoid, and you need to have a little personal alarm to alert other people to your safety and come find you. So it's just nice to have those things just in case, like on the off chance that something happens, but they've never been used, so that's good. But yeah, so those are the things that I carry in my camera bag. The bag itself is a Bag Smart bag, and I will also link that. It's on my Amazon storefront, but I'll link it in the show notes as well. It is really nice because it has room on the bottom for both my cameras, and then in the top in the drawstring is where I keep like pretty much everything. And it's not super, I mean, it's heavy, let's be real, it's heavy. But you could take some of those things out, like the prisms, I probably am gonna take out this year because I don't think I've used them in 2 years. And I just have them in my bag because I'm always worried, like, what if I'm at this shoot and I'm like, dang, that would've been so cool. So I'm kind of a pack rat that way. But I hope this episode helps you get inspired or think about some things that you want to go buy. Have fun on your Amazon shopping spree, and I'll see you next time on Clearly Focused.